At midnight, when the city lights dimmed and the streets outside grew quieter, a tall man in plain clothes stepped into the restaurant he secretly owned. To everyone else, he was just another customer, an ordinary face in the late-night crowd. But behind those tired eyes and modest jacket was Ethan Hale, a self-made millionaire and the undercover CEO of the very restaurant chain he had built from the ground up. He often visited unannounced, not to inspect numbers, but to see real stories, because numbers never told him about the hearts of his employees. That night, something unusual caught his attention. The lights were off, the chairs stacked neatly on tables, and the cleaning had been done. But in the corner booth, half hidden by the shadow of the blinds, a young woman lay curled up with her head resting on a folded apron. She was asleep, her uniform still on, her hair messy from a long shift. Ethan paused, unsure at first, but then walked closer, and what he saw made his chest tighten. Her hands had faint red marks from hours of dishwashing, her shoes were torn at the seams, and there was a faint tremble in her sleep as if even her dreams carried burdens. She was new. He remembered her face vaguely from the last few weeks, always polite, always smiling for customers no matter how exhausted she looked. Her name badge read, Clara. And tonight, she had nowhere else to go but a booth in the very restaurant she worked in. Ethan quietly sat across from her, watching her chest rise and fall, torn between waking her and letting her rest. But then Clara stirred awake, startled, quickly wiping her eyes as if ashamed to be caught. I'm so sorry, she stammered, sitting up quickly. I didn't mean to. I just needed a place to rest. I'll leave right now. Ethan raised his hand gently. You don't need to rush. It's late. You look like you've had a long day. Her face turned red with embarrassment. I didn't want anyone to find out. I don't have a place to stay right now. Rent went up and, well, I couldn't keep up. I'm saving, but until then, I just work and rest here when I can. Her voice broke halfway through, but she bit her lip to stop the tears. For a moment, Ethan said nothing. He wasn't just hearing an employee's problem, he was hearing a piece of his own past. Years ago, before he became the CEO everyone admired, he too had slept in the back of a restaurant he worked at, surviving off leftovers, hiding his struggles because he didn't want pity. Looking at Clara was like looking into a mirror of his own beginnings. Clara, he said softly, leaning forward, you don't have to feel ashamed. You're working hard, and that takes courage. But you can't fight this battle alone forever. She looked at him, confused, unsure why a stranger cared so much. And then, as if something inside her cracked, she let the truth spill out. I don't want to quit. This job is all I have. Customers yell, shifts are long, but I believe if I just keep going, maybe something better will come. I just don't know how much longer I can hold on. Ethan's heart ached. He wanted to tell her everything, that she was speaking to the man who could change her life with one decision. But he stayed quiet about his identity, not yet. Instead, he made a promise. Sometimes, the fight feels endless. But I promise you, if you keep standing, something will shift. Don't give up yet. In the weeks that followed, Ethan kept coming back, observing Clara more closely. He saw how she treated customers with patience, even the rude ones. How she secretly gave part of her meal to the homeless man outside. How she stayed late to help a coworker close, even when she herself had no bed waiting at home. Clara carried herself with quiet strength, the kind that most people never notice, but Ethan saw it, and it moved him deeply. Then came a breaking point. One evening, after a particularly grueling double shift, Clara collapsed in the kitchen. The manager scolded her harshly, telling her she needed to toughen up or risk losing her job. Ethan, sitting in the dining area, heard it all. He couldn't stay silent anymore. The next morning, the restaurant staff gathered as Ethan finally revealed who he was. Standing in the center of the room, dressed in his usual plain jacket but now with the authority of his name, he said, "I'm Ethan Hale. And I haven't just been a customer here. I own this place." Gasps filled the room, disbelief spreading like wildfire. His eyes found Clara's, wide and stunned, as he continued. "I came here undercover because I wanted to see the truth of how my employees lived and worked. And what I found was someone who embodies the heart of what this company should stand for. Clara, your dedication, your compassion, and your resilience have humbled me. And I won't stand by while one of my own is forced to sleep in a booth." The room was silent, every eye on Clara as tears filled her own. Ethan smiled at her gently. "Starting today, you won't just be a waitress. I'm offering you a position in management training. You'll have stable housing, a salary that reflects your worth, and support to build the future you've been fighting for. And Clara, thank you.